So I'm here at SES in San Francisco, and I'm joined by Avinash Kaushik from Google, who is one of our pioneers of digital. Avinash, in the book you describe the magnificent opportunity that marketers and advertisers have. Tell us about it.
I grew up more in the traditional marketing world, and I went and got my MBA, in the TV, magazine, radio world, and I've always felt that the thing that I learned in terms of marketing is that if you want to be efficient, you should figure out how to shout louder and more frequently, because it increases the chances that somebody will see your ad or that they'll react to it. And I think that we've moved so far away from that today that I'm tremendously excited about the opportunities that come from the entire spectrum of digital. Like, what is fantastic about ads on Bing and Google and Yandex and Baidu is that they are truly tied to intent. Like, you don't have to guess what I want. I'm going to tell you that. And you can show me advertising and deliver amazing experiences based on that. When I'm reading an article at Yahoo News, you have an enormous amount of context about me, where I am at that point, what I'm reading, what I'm interested in. You have my profile. You can use that to target a better ad rather than saying, we're going to guess that every person who reads Fortune magazine needs an iPod, right? You don't have to guess. And finally, the thing I shared today about social and mobile is the thing that I am just insanely excited about is how the mantra that I learned, right person, right message at the right time, we can finally do that, right? We know people's social graph, we know their habits and the things they like, we know what they're looking at, where they are, etc., which means that we can create a deeper relationship with the person that we were never able to. Or with mobile, as I showed in the TripIt example, they are giving me something of value, which is, hey, all your itinerary will be in one place, just email all the receipts to us. Boom, now that's already valuable. But in exchange for that, what they're doing is giving me a nice, beautiful, mobile-friendly experience, flight updates, my location, directions, all that stuff, free. But they also have access to my data, which means, as I shared in the example, they noticed that I have a ticket flight booked to Frankfurt in 2 weeks, and I don't have a hotel for it. What they did is they went back and looked through the history and said, oh, he doesn't have a hotel. Now, they didn't do what silly companies do, stupid companies, which is to send me 50 hotels in Frankfurt, which is what every other company would say, oh, you have a hotel, let's give him a hotel. That's stupid. What they did is they looked through my history, because they have all my frequent flyer information in there. They notice almost always I stay at a Hilton. Almost always. That's why I have 300,000 points. When they saw my Frankfurt flight but no hotel, they sent me one email with one hotel. And it said, we noticed you don't have a hotel. Here's Hilton Frankfurt. And a button that said book now. Now that is brilliant, right? No, that's not the end of it, Mel. The cool thing is, TripIt, by just giving me that app, has essentially owned me as a customer. No need for Google, spend money on Google. No need for Bing, no need for Yahoo, no need for TV. They have me, right? They are a part of my life now. In addition to that advertising value, right, that relationship value, they now have my data. And when you combine that together, you can finally do marketing that is targeted to the right person with the perfect data-mined message at the precise right time. That is what I'm excited about. I mean, it's going to change the lives of marketers, but more than that, it's going to change the lives of our customers.
So that's the magnificent opportunity, but where are the gaps? You know, we read that 80% of small businesses that have a website don't do any marketing. How do you change the perception for business owners, CMOs, CIOs, that now is the time?
Yeah. I think there are two important challenges to overcome. One, I think as an industry we can overcome. The other, I think, will just take time. And so the second one, of course, is the skill set gap. I think that there is a generation of people, and not just for small, medium businesses. I just met the number one travel company in the world, and billions of dollars revenue, right? So from that all the way to the question you asked about the category of small, medium, I think there is a skills gaps in being simply What I say is they don't have the web in their blood. It's not in the DNA. And so there is an imagination gap in these executives in terms of what is simply possible and the skills they have to look beyond what they've always done. That, I think, to a great extent will be overcome with time, right? Or you and I are going to be the evangelists, and we're going to go teach them and reduce the imagination gap. So that's one. The second one is that it is still too hard to do many of these things. So if you want to go set up an AdWords campaign or an Ad Center campaign, it's actually hard, right? It's not easy. It is not I'll tell you this. I went to eBay yesterday to list a product. And I have listed a whole lot of products for eBay for years, and then I got busy, and it just happened 2 years later now. It was so hard, I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to kill.
Well, we're glad you didn't.
No, but it is so frustrating. So what we have to do as an industry is we have to make our products and services a million times simpler. And million is not a metaphor, right? We need to make them simpler. And the second thing is we need to do more in terms of being able to show what the value is for small and medium-sized businesses almost right away. I think there is an obsession at Yahoo and Google and Microsoft and Yandex and Bing and everywhere with here's your click-through rate, here's your CPC. And those are great. But especially with small medias, they say, well, what did I get out of it? And I think there is still a gap there. So as an industry, we need to focus on those two things. We need to make our tools significantly simpler to use. And as soon as somebody comes to sign up, there should be a little big red box that says, you ran a campaign, this is what you got. And I think that we have not done that in a way that is direct and simple. And when we do those two things, in addition to closing the imagination gap, I think we will win.
So, last question, you've signed a ton of books this morning. You were on stage. I mean, there must have been at least 2, 3, 4,000 people here. You've got 80,000 followers on Twitter. You've sold $100,000 worth of books. You're an inspiration. Oh, even more than that. 250,000, corrected. You're an inspiration to so many other people. With new marketers, new entrepreneurs, new people coming through now, what do you think it is about you that made you such a pioneer in this area, and what advice would you give to them?
I don't know about the pioneer part, right? That's a work in progress. We'll see.
You're in a book called Pioneers
I know,
of Digital. He's a
You're
pioneer.
Very kind. I just tell people that in life you have to find the intersection of what you're really good at and what you're passionate about. And it's very hard to figure that out. And I think for me, I love the thing I do, and I'm insanely curious about it. I tell people who ask me for career advice that I spend at least 4 hours a week learning something new that I did not know the week before. And I think in the end, that's the secret. Is I just encourage people to be insanely curious and be voracious readers. I benefit from your wisdom all the time, right? I benefit from all the other people in our ecosystem who are so willing and open to share knowledge. And so I suck it up like a sponge, and then I practice like crazy. I've got an account with every advertising platform in the world. I am on every social network you can imagine. I'm on every single, I have an app. I've got all these things, right? Because I think that if you are insanely curious, and if you're willing to put into practice the things you're learning, there is no limit to the knowledge that you'll acquire. And it is that practice that helps you separate the BS from the gold. And I'm always trying to figure out how to be better and better at finding the gold. And then through the channels that I have access to, disseminating it to other people, you pay it forward. So I think those would be the two things. It's just insane curiosity and the willingness to do the hard work, to put the things you learn into practice.
Thank you, Avinash. And if you're insanely curious to know how this guy managed to get on that keynote stage after many, many years in the business, buy the book, pioneersofdigital.com/buy.